This is Remembering Christmas, Episode 4, Memories.
Merry Christmas and welcome to the final of Remembering Christmas. I'm Danielle Flood, and hosting along with me is Mark Bricker.
Yes.
It's been such a great 3 weeks. I'm excited for today's closing episode.
I know. Well, it's kind of sad too, but
A little.
It's our last one.
Yeah.
But it's almost Christmas, so yay for Christmas.
That's right. And it's been fun looking back, remembering Christmas together over the 3 weeks. I think, as a church family, as a family, it's all important.
Yeah, and we pick things that are common to everybody. Everybody's shared experiences all can relate to traditions and food and gifts.
Right.
And really this last one that we're going to talk about today, in some ways, ties all those in because
Absolutely.
Everything we've talked about when we've talked about the favorite gifts and all that, or the favorite food and all that, those are all memories that we had. And so that's our subject matter for today, memories, special memories that we have.
Let's talk about Christmas memories.
Let's talk about special Christmas memories. All right. First of all, what are some special Christmas memories you have?
Well, we did learn that I was a native Floridian. So many Christmases I remember being about 90 degrees and able to play with whatever I received for Christmas outside in the heat. And so I remember rollerblading, especially one year. That was a really good memory with my sister and my brother. So if we didn't go see the aunts, uncles, cousins, all of them, we were, at home in
Okeechobee, Florida.
Yeah.
Where it is probably very hot.
It's very hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christmas memories either revolve around family, and like we were talking about food, or my nuclear family, mom and dad.
Yeah. I have some great memories of Christmas. It was probably every other year we would drive up to North Florida, Panhandle, where my grandparents lived, and we'd spend Christmas there. And it was usually a pretty far drive, but it didn't matter. But it was fun being there with them, and my cousins would be there, and so it was just it was a lot of fun. Good memories of being with my grandparents. They lived in a place where it was a lot of things to do. They were on the water.
Oh,
so
awesome.
It was just lots of fun.
My grandma had a piano. And so throughout the years, I remember laying under the piano pretty much every year to do whatever, to play a game, read a book, be with my siblings. Yeah.
Lay under the piano.
Under the piano. It was a grand piano.
Yeah, it had to be if you're laying under it. Yeah. Well, speaking of grand pianos, my mom was very musical. And so a lot of our Christmas memories are sitting around and singing and playing Christmas music.
Yeah.
And so that was also a big part of that. I love, as we talked about earlier, about Christmas music. And so those memories are very special as well.
I've heard you sing.
You have?
I have.
When?
Well, that's one of my Christmas memories.
Before we started recording today?
Yeah. No, but remember a couple years ago, you and Wade sang Christmas carols.
Oh, yeah.
Was it a Wednesday night?
It was a Wednesday night. It was those Wednesday nights that in fact, we just finished them up not too long ago before Christmas. We did the adult Bible studies.
Right.
And Wade and I had the great idea. Hey, you play the guitar, I play the piano a little bit. Why don't we work up some Christmas songs and we'll lead everybody in singing? And
it was special.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Memorable.
Apparently it was. That was probably, well, it hadn't been that long, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Not that long, yeah.
But other people I'm sure remember it too.
Do you think we need to bring it back?
Yes, absolutely. Who is going to play the drum is the question. You need a bongo.
Well, somebody got a bongo set for track that down. Okay, so typically when we think of special Christmas memories, they're usually very fond memories, things that meant a lot to us, and we like to think about them. But do you have any bad Christmas memories where things didn't go as you thought?
I think one's interesting. In my childhood, my dad was a policeman working shift work. So we would move Christmas celebration to whenever he was able to be there. So Christmas morning, it might be that he was working 7 to 3, and we would do Christmas morning at 4 p.m. or if he were working till 11
That's got to be tough on a
it
kid.
was hard, but we knew that we were, honoring Dad, loving him by giving him that space. Sometimes he would work till 11, and so we just do it a little later in the morning.
Yeah. Because I remember as a kid getting up, and that's the day you woke up the earliest, and just you just couldn't wait.
The hardest might have been, though, when he worked overnights. So he'd go to work at 11 p.m., get off at 7 a.m., so we'd be like awake in the living room, awaiting his arrival. We're like, Dad, is it time? Is it time? Yeah, because it was imminent, but not... Yeah.
Quite there.
Yeah.
No, goodness. Well, let's one more time, and for the last time, go back to our staff survey responses, because we asked them to share a crazy or unusual Christmas memory. And there are quite a few in here that I'll say... one of the very first ones, they got a transistor radio wrapped in a big box and dressed like Santa Claus. So
it was the box or the radio?
I'm picturing the box was dressed like Santa Claus, but I'm not sure. But it dates them a little bit. Transistor radio, not doing those a lot more. Any of those stand out for you? Well,
I think it's fun when you think about families together. Sometimes there's always that sibling or the aunt and uncle. It's really weird. This person said their brother, and they would plan to sneak down and try to see what the presents were. And, I have some memories related to that too, like that warm glow of the Christmas lights when it's still dark. And so.
Did you like to try to figure out what the presents were? Was that something that you were curious and...
I was very curious, but I also was a rule follower.
Okay, so you weren't peeling back the wrapper or the paper?
Yeah.
Okay, shaking. Guessing based on the size.
Yeah.
One of these on here, I know who it is. They had shared this with me, but she said, my dad bought a go-kart for my sister and I when we were in elementary school. And after one trip around our property, my sister said it was way too slow. So my dad took off the governor so it would go faster. Both of us had so much fun driving that thing. She said they drove that thing. They had to keep going buying more gas because they loved driving that. So there's a very special, not so unusual, but just a very special Christmas memory for her and her sister.
How long did you guys keep decorations up?
Oh, I can't remember growing up how long they stayed up. It seemed like it was probably the New Year's Day was the deadline. Yeah,
we were probably on the longer end.
Oh, really?
My mom's a big fan, so it'd be like pushing February.
Yeah,
and we're cleaning up. But this person said Christmas Day. End of day, they were done.
End of day. That's crazy.
It's a lot. Yeah, but that'd be a memory. Yep.
Yeah, there were some neat things. Just hearing what other people thought were their special memories. A lot of times it revolved around gifts or just being with family. And I hope that even as someone's listening to us talk about this, that they are reminiscing in their own mind about something special, because there is something warming and comforting about those special memories. Right. Even if there have been a lot of bad ones,
right,
usually there's at least some good memories.
Right. And that you mentioned the bad ones, I think this time of year it's important to let people talk if they have had bad memories, because sharing those burdens can be what people need this time of year. It is lonely if you have a bad Christmas memory or you've lost someone. In my mom's experience, I was a little kid, but my mom's father passed away 3 days before Christmas.
Oh, wow.
And so I remember the Christmas lights. I remember my mom crying. I think we were headed out to a lights or some Christmas event, and she got the call. And so that kind of thing, I try to be sensitive at that time to talk about him and share that with her. Because it's hard,
Yes.
and so many people have lost loved ones or have burdens in their family, and sometimes Christmas can magnify the joys and the burdens.
That's right. And there are some people listening that this will be the first Christmas they celebrate without a very special loved one in their life.
Yeah.
And so we do understand that as we're talking about memories and the fun that they can bring to our minds, or the specialness that is there. For some, it's going to be a difficult time. And so Grateful for those that are listening that are plugged into the body of Christ
Right.
here, that have others that can hopefully be there and encourage them and be a part of ministering to them and serving them. But yeah, we understand that, while we might be laughing and enjoying
Right.
that, we understand that for some, it is a difficult time when they think back on the loss of someone very special.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Another thing that I think we have to remind our listeners when it comes to memories, and I think we've all been guilty of this, is working so hard to make a perfect holiday moment that we're not very present in the moment.
Oh man, Pinterest.
That's created a lot of this anxiety probably for folks. But have you ever struggled with that yourself as a mom, as a wife, to try to create the great memories and moments, but yet you've spent so much time, it's kind of like a Martha and a Mary. You ended
Sure.
up being such a Martha that you miss the true meaning of the moment.
I think we can get carried away in all of the Christmas memory things and try to do too much, so you're not enjoying like the real reason that your family together celebrating Jesus is the core. And if anything takes that away from you, then it's not worth it. Someone once told me, you don't have to do all the things. Even if you see your friends doing them, they're just one friend, but you're seeing all of them and you're like, oh, I need to have cookies and give things to the teachers and give things to the neighbors and doing all of the things, when the memories that matter, if we can focus and slow down and make important memories, that's what will last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and being the super mom or super dad or super grandmom, that's not the contest that you want to get in. You want to just be present and enjoy the time. And when you think about for me growing up, the best memories I have are probably the things that, like, especially when I'm thinking about my grandparents, were things that some of them were intentional. Let's take the boys camping. Others were just spending time with my granddad out in his shed doing something, and he just wanting to be with him and hanging out. And so it's those kind of things where it's a commitment of our time just to be with people, and not to try to make everything look perfect and taste perfect and photos.
Pixar didn't happen. That's right.
Absolutely. Speaking of photos, we have some special photo memories of us. In fact, if the folks are watching this on YouTube instead of listening to it as an audible or an audio podcast, they are seeing two photos of myself at about 4 years old. And how old were you in this photo?
Probably 10.
About 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's my little brother. He was about 4.
Yeah.
And it's fun Christmas memories. I was talking about cousins, aunts, and uncles. We're always at my grandma's house and celebrating that. So, if you're listening to this, go check it out on YouTube.
Or social media. We'll put these pictures on there as well. My photo is taken at my grandparents' house. And I talked about the special memories of being at my grandparents' house. And this was, it was a 2-story house. So first of all, we just thought that was cool to have a 2-story house with stairs. So, but I'm there on the railing hanging over there. And
Aww.
Yeah.
With your elf.
Yep. And it was in that foyer where you first walked in was where the Christmas tree always was. And that's where the presents were. And so we were probably either getting ready to open presents, with my Christmas pajamas on as well, or we had already done that. So, yeah.
I think we went up after church because this is one of my church dresses for Christmas. And then she always had her Christmas tree over near the sliding glass window. And so we got to enjoy that and overlooking the Intracoastal Waterway.
People shared this. We talked about this earlier, but the traditions help build memories in a lot of ways when you're doing something over and over, because doing it once, especially for children, they might not remember. But if it's something, every year we drive and we go look at Christmas lights. That's something that's going to become something they not only expect, but they're going to remember that.
Right.
And so I think, again, even some of the same foods, having some of the same foods, those are things that are real easy to build in those special memories so that they'll look back and think, And it's not so much even what you ate or what you did, but it was hopefully the time spent together, that cumulative time that was spent together as a family.
I love hot cocoa or apple cider when we're doing other activities, because I think the smell and the taste connects to these memories.
Yes, that is amazing how smell and taste does. Yes.
My husband makes warm apple cider with spices in a little pouch, boils it on the stove, and so the whole house smells like apple cider.
Yes.
And we love that.
Yes. We've got a scent going on in here. Do you recognize that?
No. Is it cinnamon?
Like shortbread cookies? Is that right?
Yeah, it is a cookie.
It's a cookie.
Yum.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's for you, Pastor Russell.
More, yes. more food memories. Yay. All right. So each time we have wrapped up with a challenge, and this one goes right along with what we've been talking about, that we would challenge all of us to create a new family ministry. We could do that too.
That's cool.
But a new family memory, maybe that would be the memory. We're going to create a new family ministry, but a new family memory, and especially one that helps point to Jesus, point to the real reason for Christmas. And what's one that you maybe already do in your household that hopefully your girls and son will one day look back and have a memory in their mind? This is looking the long game. So 15 years from now, what are you hoping will be a memory they have, and especially maybe one that points to Jesus?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do both because I think the Christmas season is fun. You know, we don't take out all the cultural fun, but we read a lot of Christmas stories. And so I want them to remember either curling up on the couch with a Christmas story and hot cocoa, or decorating the tree together. These are things that speak to my heart as a mom, activities that we do together, grounding them in our family, in our faith,
Yes.
sharing that, and then, serving others. We've done the Salvation Army bell ringing. They love that. Also serving the soup kitchen, some other things. I want our family to see that serving is a lifestyle, at Christmas, around the whole year. So if we do a Christmas thing, let's point it to Jesus.
Yeah. You, at the end of our episode last week on talking about gifts, you had wanted to share a special gift that you had gotten for your husband.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking that's a pretty special memory. So there is a tie-in, even though we're not talking about gifts anymore, but gifts do leave, especially memorable gifts, leave great memories. So share with us a little bit about that.
Well, Nate and I, when we first got married, we spent some of our wedding money on Disney annual passes. And so weekends were little getaways, and we'd go camp up in Orlando and go to Disney. And so one of those first Christmases, he didn't know that I knew that he wanted it, but I bought tickets to the backstage tour, Disney. And that is a very cool tour.
I would love that myself.
Yeah, they talk about how it works behind the scenes. They give you insight to both the kind of psychology of Disney, but also the mechanics. And he was surprised that I even knew that. I don't even know if we talked about it, but it was just so him. And it showed love in a way that, paid attention. And
it was another one of those shared experiences because you were with him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I got to do it too, which was pretty fun. But
that's awesome.
Yeah,
great
memories.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we wrap up this episode, I have a huge surprise for our listeners. So those that have stayed with us through all 4 of our weekly episodes of Remembering Christmas get to hear this surprise. We decided to wait till the very end. But the big surprise is the reveal that you, Danielle Flood, are going to be the new host of Talk Truth.
Surprise!
For next year. Yay!
Yay!
This is when the little confetti drops in the
Where's the confetti cannon? Christian.
Yes. So super excited to have you on the
Yes.
podcast team here at McGregor and taking on the mantle and taking that show over and looking forward to that. It's not too far off in the future. Will be the first episodes we always start releasing right after Easter. So just several months out still, but they'll be hearing and seeing more as we start publicizing those, that there isn't, because a lot of people have been asking, who's going to be the new host? Who's going to be the new host? Because they knew that Chloe moved away.
Sweet Chloe, we miss you.
Yeah. And I think you were probably one of her more regular guests on her show anyway. So you had some experience being on that show, but now you'll be hosting it, as well as being a part of some of these special ones that we do for the McGregor podcast channel. So
well, stay tuned and we'll talk truth.
Yes, look at that. She's already ready. Boom.
I'm so excited.
All right. Well, this wraps up our final episode of Remembering Christmas. Hope you've enjoyed them. And we'll be back next year for both Talk Truth and Here at Home. Take care.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.